Hey gang, Kevin Goatee, gutting the sacred cow. Do you like the background? It's very take on me-ish. For those of you over the age of 35, you nodded and went, yeah, I see what you're talking about. For those of you under the age of 35, go YouTube that video, take on me. Aha. Thanks again for being loyal listeners. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hitting us up, retweeting, more importantly, all of our links and sharing our episodes. It does mean the world to Kevin and I. And good news, we now have merch available on guttingthesacredcow.com. That's right, we've got merch. What do we have? Gloves, bags, shoes, gloves, shirts, pants. Hey, orange balls, I'll have a box of those. Give me a box of those naked lady tees. Give me 2 of those. Give me 6 of those. Yeah, that's Caddyshack, I know. But we do have bags. We do have shirts. We do have everything but N95 masks for you. That's a hell of an idea, right? Getting masks with our logo, our faces on that. Pretty cool. Guttingthesacredcow.com has the merch you may or may not want to give to your best friend for, is it too late for Easter? It's too late for Easter. How about Ramadan? Or is it, I think we're in the middle of Ramadan. But Father's Day is around the corner, so is Mother's Day. And last and not least, don't forget, if you're looking to advertise, guttingthesacredcow@hotmail.com is the email address. We would love to help you grow your business and or service. And without further ado, here's Seth Everett, trying to take down last year's box office runaway hit, Joker.
Gather round, here's what I know. It's just that this cow has got to go. I know some people kinda like it, yeah, it's trending right now. It doesn't matter cause we're gutting the sacred cow.
Hey everyone, gutting the sacred cow. God damn it, Kevin Israel. What is this, 27?
We made it. 27.
Just like
There's
the
been
Yankees.
26 of these? 26 of these, huh? Okay.
Guys, don't forget, before we get into it, go back and check out all other episodes. We just did Avatar with Delvin Cox. We just did Taxi Driver with Stoner Jesus himself. We also did Titanic with Karen Margolis. But more importantly, right now, right here, Kevin Israel. By the way, how the hell are you?
I'm fantastic, man.
You look it.
It's a hell of an intro.
I don't care what day it is.
You look
Everybody's
like
quarantined.
you look like you're that parent who got their kid's report card and you know it's a bad one, and the kid comes in like, hey, what's going on? Like, all right, yeah, good. How are you doing? Huh? Want to sit down for a second? Let's talk about this. We're here with Seth Everett, everybody. Give it for Seth Everett. He's here from the Hall of Justice podcast, Sports with Friends podcast, fellow Jersey guys. So welcome. So anyway, Seth has decided to come on, and I think
No, you guys asked me to come on. I didn't decide to come on.
Well, you decide.
It's not like I heard the podcast and go, I got to be on this.
Well, after this, you will. You could have said no. To be fair,
That's fair. I like the challenge.
Seth has chosen to come on and attack a film, very new film, 6 months old, very well regarded, The Joker. Now, Kevin
Is like saying Ron Jeremy's dick is kind of big.
It's not The Joker, by the way. It's just Joker.
Oh.
Maybe it'd be better if it was The Joker.
Oh, would that make you feel more appreciative?
Like Halle
toward it?
Berry's movie should have been The Catwoman. Would have been much better.
Or The Swordfish. How about that, too?
There you go.
What a glorious piece of shit that film. I rewatched that a few months ago.
That
That
movie
film
actually,
terrible.
It's so funny that you bring that movie up. I was just talking to somebody about it, and I referenced, they were talking about, I can handle a high-stress situation. I was like, oh, yeah, could you crack into the NSA while you had a gun to your head and get a blowjob from a hooker? And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, I guess.
Could you also focus on Halle Berry's tits for 15 minutes like I did on Freeze Frame? That's high pressure. Joker.
Are you guys in quarantine watching old things, or are you guys watching new things? I've been all new things.
I've been
I have
both.
not seen a classic dumb game that these people are tweeting about. I haven't seen any of that crap. Just give me all the shows that I want to watch.
I've been on
sports.
I've been on a kick of a lot more older stuff than new stuff because I'm pretty good when it comes to the new stuff. For example, I watched Body of Evidence, the Madonna film from 1993. That makes Basic Instinct look like a fucking Disney film from 1960. Like William Dafoe is eating
someone
her
going to
out.
come on this podcast and rip a porn movie that you love? That'd be awesome.
That's a film you should go check out. He eats her fucking bush out on a car in a parking garage, just to give you a little tip. But You chose the Joker. Kevin Israel, the old IMDb score. Give me the old 1 to 10. What do you think the IMDb score is?
8-8.
8.5. Very close. Rotten Tomatoes critic score. What is it?
93.
68.
Really? Wow.
Shocking for the critics. I thought this was a critic's blowjob right here.
Yeah, me too.
Audience score.
89.
88.
Ah, damn it.
One away. Now, facts and figures. Budget, $62.5 million. Odd that it's so high because there is not one frame of CGI in this film. One fun fact.
Nothing.
A take home of $1.07 billion.
With a B.
With a B. It's a hell of a haul. Quotes. Only have 2 for this one. Is it me or is it getting crazier out there? And I used to think my life was a tragedy. Now I realize it's a comedy. Kevin, is there any quotes out of you?
No, this wasn't a quotable movie. Nothing. There's nothing that I was going to run around and be like, oh, remember that great line from Joker?
Seth, any quotes that jumped out to you from this film?
Yes. How much time left?
Who said that? Bruce Wayne?
Oh, I hated that movie. This is not even like a movie I wanted to rip. It is an awful film.
We'll get there. Well, before we get
Give
there,
me the 2 hours back, and this podcast is already better than the film.
well, that goes without saying. 5.
And the review we did, we went to blows because the guy who does my movie reviews on the Hall of Justice, he loved the film. And he didn't make a strong enough argument. I eviscerated him. I'll do the same to you.
Do you have the same guy going, meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice?
He's in my open, yeah.
I would hope so.
And every time I tweet it, I go, meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, and I put in parentheses, podcast. And my goal is to make that show so big that DC sends me a cease and desist.
How close are you to it?
Well, we had a run. There was one moment. I don't want to deviate too much from your Joker talk, but we had a run. Zack Snyder came on the show back in 2016, and unbeknownst to me, he ripped Superman fans. And he just took a vicious shot at Superman fans. And that went viral. And I didn't know. Variety heard it, and they wrote an article about it. And you could still Google Zack Snyder Hall of Justice podcast, and you'll see it. And that show got about 330,000 listens in about a month. And that show, I said, at that moment, I said, DC's going to come after us then. I said, there's no way we're going to be called. And I was already, because I'm a big Prince guy, I would be like, oh, we'll be the show formerly known as the Hall of Justice in a second. That'll be a layup.
I think DC was worried about making shitty films for the last 10, 15 years more than your podcast.
No joke. I didn't call Man of Steel awful. I would never do that to Zack Snyder's face. Like, I have respect for people's work. I wouldn't say it to Todd Phillips. I would respect the work enough to at least show it respect. But if you're asking me my opinion, both those movies were garbage.
You would just tweet it, but not at them. That's because you're a gentleman. 5 fun facts. Fun fact number 1, Joaquin Phoenix lost 51 pounds for this role. 51 pounds. That's the number of hair that Kevin Israel is going to lose when he gets that haircut.
Yeah, he was uncomfortably skinny for this.
742,000 searches on Pornhub for the Joker. I'll let that marinate for a minute. Who is Pornhubbing good Joker porn?
I mean, there are superhero porn out there.
Tranny porn, I'm bored. Move on. What's next? Navi porn? Been there, done that. Joker porn? Oh, a treasure trove. Martin Scorsese was supposed to direct the Joker, another fun fact, but dropped out to do The Irishman. Who did the studio want to be the Joker? One guess for each of you.
Who did the studio want to be the Joker?
Very big name. Very big name.
Nicholson?
Nope.
Who did it?
Who was the Joker?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
That's as big as it's going to get.
That's funny.
Alec Baldwin was supposed to be Thomas Wayne, but he dropped out. Fun fact number 4, Joaquin Phoenix was supposed to play not one, but 2 Marvel characters. He decided not to replace Ed Norton as the Hulk or take on the role as Dr. Stephen Strange.
Yep. He didn't want to do any sequels. He only wanted to do sequels.
People of Aurora, Colorado asked that they not play the Joker at the same theater that was shot up during The Dark Knight Rises. Fun fact number 5.
May I interrupt? I can add to that fact. I knew someone that was killed in that Aurora theater, and her mom has started a charity in her name. And in the review that we did of the film on my Hall of Justice podcast, we had the parents on there. And I totally respected what they claimed and what they were suggesting. They weren't saying don't make movies like that. They're not saying you can't have violence in movies. That's not why her daughter got killed. The fact of the matter is that Warner Brothers needed to help support anti-gun legislation in Colorado, and these ladies were this young lady, the mom of my friend, and this was somebody I worked with in Colorado, and I knew her, Jessica Gowie, who was killed in that shooting. She was an aspiring sportscaster, and she was going to be the sideline reporter for the Avalanche. I just knew it, and she was a wonderful person. So I didn't want that movie shown, and that was before I saw the film. It had nothing to do with my opinion on the film. Sorry, continue.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Bring the spirit down, but let's
pretty bad.
Bring it back up now. More importantly, it is now time for Seth Everett to do what he was meant to do on this planet besides make us all laugh at the Hall of Justice. And that is Gut the Sacred Cow. Your Honor.
This movie, to me, was an interesting piece of art involving a guy who had some mental illness. I can give you 3 movies that I would have put together that are better than this one. What they did was they tried to take an original concept and they laid it in with some of the most predictable storytelling I've ever seen. If you didn't see him coming where he was going to become violent, if you saw the scenes with the psychiatrist and know that they weren't going anywhere, if you saw that ending where the thing that's been on cinema more times than any other comic book act, the killing of the Waynes, do me a favor, give me something that has a little originality to it. And one of the things that people have said to me about this film is you have to appreciate mental illness. Can you curse on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Fuck
no,
that.
fuck no.
That's not about mental illness. And if you want to do movies about mental illness, you could use my father as an example because he has mental illness. And I know all about mental illness. That's not what this movie is about. This movie doesn't insult me as a human being. This doesn't insult mentally ill people. What this movie does is it changes a story that didn't need changing. And so we kill Zack Snyder for changing Superman. But no, let's applaud Todd Phillips for making Joaquin Phoenix this fascinating Joker when he's not even the 4th best Joker on the docket. And Mark Hamill, by the way, is the best one. The reality of this movie, and I'll give you my 3 examples. What I didn't like was how they tried to tie a unique storyline into a story that's already been told. And what you did was you diminished the spontaneity of your story by there's no way the Joker is 28 to 32 years old when Bruce Wayne is a kid. That's not realistic. And all you wanted to do was say, screw reality, let's just have comic effect or cinematic effect. That's lousy. What I would have done, and I'll give you my 3. The first suggestion that I would have had is Joaquin Phoenix plays Arthur Fleck, a struggling comedian and a guy who comes from a rough childhood, has a really disappointing mother, and instead of Gotham City, he's in Cleveland. And Arthur Fleck is obsessed with the comic book Joker. He reads all the books. He's seen Heath Ledger. He's seen Mark Hamill. He's seen Jack Nicholson. He's even seen Cesar Romero. What he's done is he takes that art and he copycats it. And so what he becomes is not the Joker, but a facsimile of the Joker. And if they made that movie, I'd run to the theaters. I would absolutely run to the theaters. That's one. The other one, and I have to put a little context to this. My brother-in-law is a paparazzi. So my brother-in-law goes around New York City and he takes pictures of celebrities. And anytime there's a superhero motif to it, he texts it to me. So like if Hugh Jackman's going like this with his fists, like he'll text me that picture. And he was in Newark, New Jersey, which is about 20 minutes from where I live. And they were filming the Joker. And I had heard this way before the Joker came out. But I had heard this, I saw this picture, and I put these pictures on social media. What Todd Phillips or Michael Uslan or Warner Brothers did was they arranged for the cast and crew to interact with the 1966 Batmobile. They brought the Batmobile to the set, and they all took pictures. Joaquin Phoenix took pictures in the car, near the car, next to the car, and there's all these pictures. And they were in like people.com, Us Weekly or whatever it was. And I was texted one of those pictures, and I had this idea. Joaquin Phoenix plays Cesar Romero, an accomplished actor who, in the twilight of his career, right out of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, has to find that he is asked to be in this campy, dumb, childish Batman show. And Joaquin Phoenix as Cesar Romero says, I was in Hamlet, I was in this, and he can't wrestle with the reality. And what I want the motif for this movie to be is very much like the film Hollywoodland. You guys ever see Hollywoodland with
Affleck.
Ben Affleck as George Reeves? And you make it that. And then just like they did in that Once Upon a Time, Quentin Tarantino did in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie, you have your culmination of him agreeing to put the makeup on and the costume, and he won't shave his mustache, and they have to spray paint his mustache white. And then you intersplice Joaquin Phoenix with the original Adam West and Burt Ward. If you make that movie and make it like Hollywoodland, I would race to the movie theater. I'm just telling you, there are ways to tell this story. And there are ways to do it that didn't have to slap comic book fans in the face while doing it. And the only thing I ever heard from people was, you don't understand. This is what it spoke to me. This movie spoke to me. That's all well and good. And Joaquin Phoenix gives a hell of a performance. He's not the fucking Joker. Case dismissed. Or no. What is the phrase? I rest my case.
Yeah. I'll say we'll dismiss the case around here. God damn it.
I was like, I said the wrong word.
Perfectly played. That's interesting, Kevin. That's good stuff. Not bad. I'll buy that, Mikey. I'll buy that. You've got to hand it to Joaquin Phoenix for fully inhabited his role of a loner on the verge of a psychological breakdown in the Joker. The whole thing, the whole damn thing is directed with such boldness and vision that Todd Phillips, the Hangover guy, should never look back again. A big screen must-see. Not only an intelligent throwback to the feel-bad shock cinema of the 1970s, Joker is all but unique in its social realism. The movie tells its story without apology, and Phoenix plays it to the serrated edge, conjuring a modern take on Milton's Paradise Lost, where we're asked to feel sympathy for the devil after being cast out of heaven. And I say, yet another critic who feels the need to take a classic piece of literature, mix in a metaphor to seem like they're coming from a place of wisdom. All these fucking critics are this, I read a book and went to school and took 15 credits, and now I have a journal article.
Listen to words. I have words.
Critics 1-star reviews. For all the hype and anxiety surrounding the film, one can't help but walk away asking, all that noise for this? Cinema is dead. Here's your proof. To that I say, no. The proof is the Charlie's Angels reboot. That's my proof that cinema is dead. The more I watched it, the more I disliked it. Just did not work for me. I hate this movie. Simple. To the point. Succinct. To celebrate Joker as the year of the best of the year is akin to telling your friends all the celebrities you met while walking through Madame Tussauds. It isn't, and you didn't. I didn't like that review. Yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go. This is why critics are fucking blowhard jerk-offs, and anyone going to journalism school right now for film should really reconsider and say, you know what, insurance sales, not really a great way to go through life, but at least the money's better. This film is a
movie review podcast because
yeah, God damn it. Otherwise, you'll have other assholes that go shitting on you. This film is a Joker cosplay more than Joker, a cipher elevated to savior by the disenfranchised and angry. It's not only a bad joke, but it's also a sad joke. Pause for effect. Noted.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Amazon 5-star reviews. It's going to get good right now, Seth. This is an apples to oranges.
I'll be the judge of that.
Oh, no. This is an apples to oranges review. Let's just make that clear. Now that we've got that out of the way, this tops everything that Marvel has put out.
Wow. That's
What?
That's what I said. Let's also forget this is a DC, not a Marvel film. Someone who wanted to it was not an apples and oranges review. DC is apples, Marvel is oranges. How about we get the facts right before we write a review? It's good to see that Robert De Niro finally read a script and actually does some acting here, parentheses, first time since Silver Lining Playbook. The backdrop of the movie is dreary and gritty, parentheses, being filmed in New Jersey, which has dreary in its abundance, which matches the state of the Joker's mind. And I say, if this person is from anywhere besides Hawaii, their state is more garbage than ours is. Fuck. I love when people shit on Jersey. Where are you from? Cleveland. Fuck you, Cleveland. Place set fire. Disgusting. If you're overly sensitive to violence, the subject of mental health, guns, clowns, jokes, or anything at all, do not watch this movie. If you are an SJW or PC person, you will not like this movie, so just don't watch it. I think the SJWs would like this film because if you want to really get down to it, Thomas Wayne is a metaphor for Trump.
Yeah, this is a completely a liberal kind of piece.
And that was the Zuccotti Park, revolution right then and there.
Absolutely.
Now, this is our absolute favorite, Seth. The Amazon 1-star reviews. The open micers getting their chance to pretend that they have a GED. Joaquin did a great job. Someone please keep an eye close on him. I say, it's called the NSA, and they're all watching us, fair reader. Joaquin Phoenix is equally deranged IRL as he is on screen. He should retire. Right, like Michael Jordan did after winning his 3rd championship, right? Just retire after winning an Oscar and getting a forklift operating while you're at it, right, reader? Fucking people are dumb. This is what happens when you give the fucking voices to stupid people. There you go, Seth, something that you kind of turned on to. My husband deals with depression, and this movie upset him. We turned it off only after a short time. Can we get a refund? I say, maybe.
And that's not even it. It's not not it. And all the people who bitched about this movie and they're like, it spoke to me and it speaks to depression and it's a perfect portrayal and we need more movies that address that. Fine, make that movie.
Right.
Don't call it the Joker.
I think her husband would not suffer from depression if he did not marry an adult who asks if she can get a refund in the Amazon review section. How about that? Next one. But I do not watch movies to wallow in the squalor of the worst possible version of our civilization. I do not pay money to feel scared, anxious, hopeless, or frustrated. I do not find that entertaining. Signed, a huge fan of Schindler's List and Sophie's Choice. No, I made that up. I mean, why not just watch Mike Myers films because you can't handle any other emotion besides dumbness and stupidity? Fucking simpletons, I tell you. This one was written in all in caps, so you know what that means. His was the worst written and acted movie I have ever seen. I have thousands of movies in my collection and have given this one away, so I will never be asked to show it again. Everyone who was with me watching it agreed. It was such a disgrace.
First of all, no one's asking you to show the movies, and no one was with you when you watched it.
And second of all, he has thousands of movies. Even this guy, you have to have a few clunkers in there if you have thousands of movies. He probably has at least 4 copies of Anger Management alone in his library. And this one is my favorite. This one,
Never seen that.
don't. I tried. Here you go. That was another older film I tried watching. Halfway through, I'm like, nope. Adam Sandler is just, besides Gilmore and Madison, it is. And I take that back. I did like Uncut Gems. I thought that was good.
You did? I never saw that.
Really? It's good. It's a
no
nice
interest
surprise.
in that. That does nothing for me.
No.
I haven't seen. I just rented the Ben Affleck movie, and we had him on the podcast talking about it. And I remember leaving the recording, going, "Oh, that sounds like a movie I'd see." 3 months later, I haven't seen it yet.
Which Ben Affleck movie?
The Way Back, the basketball movie.
Oh yeah, I know.
The one that no one saw. It tanked in the theater.
Well, no. The world stopped.
No. It came out right before. It came out like the end of January, before Corona was out. It was out, but opening weekend it tanked. It tanked opening weekend. It made like $7 million, which is
Before China dropped the Corona album, it was.
last one. This guy, my favorite by far. I live some 2,000 miles away from New York City in Texas. I have never been to New York, and I don't know anybody from there. Now that I think about it, I don't think I ever knew anybody from there. Chicago, sure. Atlanta, okay. Miami, but not New York. And no, my greatest ambition in life is not to move to the Big Apple. For starters, I don't want to pay 4 times what I pay in rent right now for a similar apartment. And yes, it is relevant because that's part of the problem for the main character. I'm also not keen on having to cough up a couple $100 a month just to park my car somewhere before it gets stolen, that is. I think if I hear any more about Brooklyn, I'm going to throw up. By the way, I'm a college grad with a language degree, 3.2 GPA.
Huh? What does that have to do with the movie?
Thank you very much. By the way, only a couple $100 a month to park. Give me the address. I'll park my car there right now. That's a fucking steal. By the way, and who else brags about their GPA unless you're just out of community college? No one after the age of 25 could tell you what their GPA was. Honest to God. And I do agree.
No, but I feel bad for all the seniors that are missing senior year, because if I remember my college experience, the last 3 months of senior year were the greatest 3 months of my life.
It was.
And what they're missing, what they went to school in January with hopes and dreams and a plan and a light at the end of the tunnel, and now they have no jobs to go to and they're stuck at home. That's crazy.
That's a great point, because I'm sure your senior year was the same. Mine was filled with cushy ass classes I needed to graduate so I could just coast, drink in my fraternity house, play beer pong and GoldenEye on 64 all fucking day and night, and have sex with women with copious various moral problems. And that was it. And now you're exactly right. These poor bastards are not going to have that same opportunity, except Zoom orgy parties, and that's it. Kevin Israel, your notes on this film.
Well, I also, as you and I have talked about before on this podcast, I grew up a comic book fan. The Killing Joke was probably one of my favorite Batman graphic novels. And so when I saw that they're making this movie, and they said often that it was based off of The Killing Joke.
Right.
I was like, this is gonna be amazing. Like they're doing
when.
Well, right. So I was like, that's a bold move just to go right into that story. And then when the trailers started coming out and we started to actually see a little bit of the movie, I was like, oh, the only thing they took from Killing Joke is that he was a comedian. It's literally like they read those couple flashback scenes and were like, well, that's the movie we're making. But it's funny because I was talking to another comedian, Joey Callahan, who was also a huge comic book fan, and he said he hasn't seen the Joker, and he didn't plan on seeing it because he's just kind of comic book movied out for right now, and it didn't look like anything that made him.
But it's not a comic book movie.
So to his point, is that
An
it
emotional thriller.
didn't look like it was going to be an interpretation in the Batman universe that he wanted to see. So I said to him, it's funny, once I went into this movie, I just removed the entire existence of the DC universe from this movie and watched it as a immense performance by Joaquin Phoenix. To me, this had no connection to the DC universe short
They
of
killed the Waynes. They killed the
yeah,
Waynes. Come on.
They did in Tim Burton as well.
but they
Of course they did, because that's the Joker.
Yeah.
But you know what? But there was so much other symbolism about this movie, and so much there was a real economic analysis of how people are treated today. There were a lot of other themes that I just separated myself from just said, this has nothing to do with Batman. I'm just going to watch Joaquin Phoenix's performance, which I thought was amazing. And it was just a fascinating portrayal. To me, was it the Joker? No. My favorite Joker will always be Heath Ledger.
Mine too.
And so I like this movie for what it was. And now I see them. They're apparently talking about doing a sequel that's gonna.
Oh no.
Yeah, apparently Joaquin is considering it.
But can you imagine when he's sitting in the apartment and he's sitting there and he's destitute and he puts on De Niro? Could you imagine if he put on The Dark Knight and you're watching Arthur Fleck watch The Dark Knight?
Oh yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
I'm telling you, if you saw that moment, and then as he's walking in the subway, you hear Mark Hamill's laugh, and do it as an homage to the Joker, and first of all, it would make more money than it makes. You could tell your story. You could do everything for the mentally ill. You don't change the motif that you're going for, and you make us Batman fans love you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a brilliant idea.
Make that movie. Let's make that movie. Let's you and me. Let's call Joaquin and let's make that movie.
Maybe we could. You ever watch Bat in the Sun?
No, I have not seen that.
Bat in the Sun. It's a YouTube channel where they make. It's a lot more than cosplay. There are some.
How it should have, like fan fiction kind of thing.
Yeah, it's fan fiction, but they have some serious budgets behind them, and they do a great job. And they've done a couple of kind of one-off Batman movies, and they do it very, very well. And the guy they have play Batman is very, very good.
When he showed up at Wayne Manor, it was making me nauseous. It's so stupid.
Especially if you're a real comic book fan or you're a real comic book purist, this movie seemed kind of unnecessary, especially considering what DC is going on in the DC universe or not going on. It seems like they could have spent a lot more time trying to tell those stories better and do a better job with those movies than just create this random story that nobody really asked for. But again, I looked at it as just a story that was completely outside of the DC universe, and I just respected Joaquin's performance in it because I thought it was amazing and that he did a great job playing this incredibly damaged character. So yeah, I mean,
they pan around. He's in the car, and that at the very end, and they pan around, and the Waynes are going down the aisle, the alley, and I go, "You're kidding! Come on, this again?"
I was, you know what?
This
You're right.
Again?
I was really surprised that they did that too. It seemed a little unnecessary.
Have you guys seen the YouTube of all the live action and animation murders of the Waynes?
No.
There's like 30 of them. There was one in the Super Friends. It's awful. Oh yeah. In the end, the last season of the Super Friends, he gets caught by Scarecrow's fear gas or whatever. And he dreams it, and it's a dream season. But you see the Waynes walking down the aisle. You don't see the gunshot or anything like that, but you know exactly what that is. And then what was the first goddamn thing in that show, Gotham? The first thing is be as predictable as possible. And what I wanted for Gotham is fall in love with the Waynes. Have season 1 be all about the Waynes and Bruce living with his family. Get to know the Waynes and love them. And then when they die in the season finale, you actually feel some loss.
Yeah.
But what Gotham did was what everybody else wants to do, and that is show me something I've already seen.
And
And
gave you the most
it's so
obnoxious kid in the
stupid.
world.
It was so insulting. And there's a way to respect, why does Marvel have the success they have? Is because they respect the source material. They don't copy it. Endgame wasn't a movie that came out of the comic book. That's an original story, but it shows reverence for the source material. And when it doesn't, we call them on it. And in this situation, all it was the Joker's not a good enough villain. Really? Look at 80 years of history of the Joker and tell me he's not a good enough villain to have his own backstory be a real backstory.
I think all would say
This clown doesn't hold a candle to the Joker.
He's the best villain in comic book history of all time. No one there's no one can say otherwise.
Of course, he's a maniac.
Yeah.
And what they've done, and when they did have you guys ever seen the animated? It's called Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker.
I might have. That does sound familiar.
Joker. There's a flashback scene to the original Batman the Animated Series, and the Joker kidnaps Tim Drake, Robin, and he tortures him and turns him into a Joker Jr.
I did see that. Yep.
And it is vile. And when you look, and Kevin Conroy, who he's been on my podcast, and he's such a nice person, and he's the greatest voice of Batman, when he grabs the Joker and he goes, "I'll break you in two," and you feel it. You know what I mean? You feel it, and you want him to finally pull the trigger and just beat the bloody pulp out of the guy. Or the scene in Dark Knight when they're in the interrogation room.
Right.
Tell me one scene in the Joker film that rivals that a little. A little. Nothing.
That scene that interrogation scene is an amazing scene.
And you didn't see it coming. The first time you saw it, you didn't see it coming. But when Arthur Fleck walks into the goddamn subway, you're like, "Oh, I wonder what's going to happen here." You saw that coming from a mile away.
I got some notes. You feel bad for him. You really do. Especially at the very beginning with the sign and all that and trying to make the kid laugh on the bus. You do feel bad for the guy. It got a different emotion out of you if you've seen the Joker for the first time. Every autistic new comic jumped up and yelled, "That's me!" when Arthur Fleck goes on Murray's show. That is for certain. Phoenix got the Callista Flockhart look down to a fine science. Good for you. The temp agency guy, I put him on my top 10 biggest dick of all time film villains, along with the Titanic guy. Where's the sign? I got jumped.
Billy
We need
Zane?
a sign. Yeah,
Billy Zane?
Yeah, we did Titanic a few weeks ago. But yeah, where's the sign? I got jumped. We need the sign back. That's like saying someone who just got shot from a gun. Hey, you're bleeding all over the place. Can you clean up while you sit here in the hospital waiting room? You fuck. What a jerk off. I wish you would have gotten killed too. Did not need to see Arthur Fleck's mother naked in the bathtub. No, sir. Thank you.
I didn't complain. She was Ruth on 6 Feet Under. She was a lovely lady.
So I guess you're the only guy who gets chubby when you see Magda from Something About Mary.
I didn't say that.
Old titties is his forte. Don't you have to be funny to be a comedian? I was one of the lines too. I wish a lot of comics parents told their kids that who go into the business, right, Kevin? Thank you. It was nice to see Dangerfield's Club packed again like it was 1988, unlike the current times. Not buying Thomas Wayne as a dick. I'm sorry. He's been the nicest guy, the biggest philanthropist in Gotham City, but now he's a dick. I'm not having that. I was not on board for that. Also, kind of fun to see a younger, tough guy, Alfred. The Gotham version Gotham didn't do shit for me with the Alfred version. Not a fan. I didn't see Pennyworth on
I haven't seen it, and it's free on Apple TV now. In this quarantine time, it's going to be my summer project.
Oh, listen. Here's another problem with the reality. He's standing in the aisle during the movie. No one yells, "Sit the fuck down." Bullshit. Not where we're from. And I laughed my balls off with the midget and the door chain scene. How do you not find that hysterical?
That scene, honestly, that was a bananas scene.
Loved it.
Where
kills him, and then he goes, and he can't get out. He thinks he's gonna get killed, and he can't reach the door chain. I loved it. Loved it. It would have been more beneficial to cast Bill Maher as that snarky talk show host than De Niro.
That's funny. Can you imagine him going on, "Oh, look at you with your painted face. A lot less funny looking Gene Simmons, okay?" Kevin Israel, give me a score of the Joker 1 to 10.
One thing I have to add that you remind me of with your notes
Thank you.
that stuck out to me from the when I saw it in the theater to when I rewatched it, the scene where he gets jumped by the 3 Wayne employees in the subway, and the one guy starts singing the clown song or the circus song.
Oh yeah.
Who knows that song?
No one.
Oh God.
20-something who knows that song and would start singing it as a prelude to beating the shit out of somebody. I thought that was so weird, and especially for those, like, if it was some other, like, if he got beat, if some other nutcase beat the shit out of him who happened to know that, I would have believed that. But these 3 like preppy, wealthy Wayne employees, and one of the guys knows this song and starts singing it to, it was just, that was so bizarre to me that it took me out of that scene.
Great
But
point.
anyway, as far as the score goes, I give the movie a 7.
Jesus Christ, we're sharing a fucking brain. I also have this a 7. I own this film. I liked it in the theater. I think it's solid. I really do.
It's the first DC movie I don't own, and I own George Clooney's Batman and Robin.
I
because
have it
came in
too.
a set.
Me
It came in
too.
a set.
I got it when you bought the Voodoo. You get the 4-for-1 movies. You mean to tell me you own Suicide Squad? I find that really fucking.
I own
cool.
Suicide Squad, but I will not get Birds of Prey. And if you want to have me back, I hate that movie too.
I never saw it. Actually, Kevin, do you see Birds of Prey?
I just saw it last week.
It's a rated R movie with pratfalls. Well,
Yeah.
if you're gonna do pratfalls, make it PG and make kids have it. But
The
I
fact
do
that they
pratfalls.
called it
Yeah.
Birds of Prey was ironic, since the Birds of Prey were in it for 13 minutes, maybe.
Margot Robbie is way too talented to just say yes to everything. She's got to start saying no.
She said yes to Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. All she did was walk around and smile the entire time, but she looked fucking great.
She
Let's call
did
it.
great. And you see I, Tanya?
Yes, very good.
Tanya Harding.
She's
She is
amazing in that.
incredible in that. And she's good in the Fox News movie.
Oh yeah,
That's also great. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
I
But
like this.
The mini series with Russell Crowe as Ailes, the loudest voice, is better than Bombshell.
Is it? He was on Stern
by
talking
a lot.
about that.
Bombshell is very clicky and very, I almost want to say cliche. When Russell Crowe plays Roger Ailes, it is dark.
yeah, and
It's dark, and you see them sitting in a room come up with the idea to prop Trump up. Oh, that miniseries is fantastic.
What's that on? What channel?
fascinating
I
character.
think Showtime.
I'll give that a gander. Got some free time in our hands. I give it a 7. I enjoyed this. Will I watch it again anytime soon? No.
No,
I'll watch it. Listen, if it's on cable and I'm flicking around, it's been a while. Maybe I'll watch.
you guys still have cable?
I do. I can't
Cut
do
the
it.
cord, man. Cut the cord.
Kevin Israel, did Seth Everett gut the sacred cow?
Seth, you made a great argument, and you made some valuable points that I think a lot of comic book purists would agree with. But I don't think his argument was enough to take this one down.
I agree. I
What
do love
happened?
the.
Is there a trophy or something? Did you get something at Sharper Image? Or not
Sharper
Sharper Image?
Image, what the
Things remembered. Things remembered.
We'll send you a Brookstone catalog. You can.
That's why
pick
you
another
guys are
Brookstone catalog.
comedians, and I botched the joke.
We would. It was
3,
weird
2, 1.
when we called Things Remembered and told them we wanted a silver cow that was cut in half. Like, we're
I
not
said no. I said we frown on that. Even in quarantine, we frown.
I will say this. I love the alternate storylines you've planted. Those are fantastic films. And I agree. I would run like hell to go see those in the theater. Did you gut the sacred cow? I agree. You did not. Very good arguments. Don't get me wrong. A hell of a valiant effort. How about a vicious high five? Would that suffice?
A what?
A vicious high five.
What's a vicious high five? On
More
Zoom.
than a lackluster high five.
Oh, okay.
You know, more like when Dutch and Carl Weathers in Predator. Dylan, you son of a bitch, but
the
with the high
greatest
five.
road shake of all time.
Right? Those veins were fucking
Oh
pumping
my
in that.
God, they both were pumping up so much right before that.
Jizz or juice?
Both.
Seth Everett, you've been a fucking blast. I'd love to have you on the
Thanks for having
podcast.
me, man.
Seth Everett, tell us where we can find you yet again, and throw out your podcast names where we can find them.
Oh, you're okay because I got a good plug this week. We have
By
a
all
big guest
means.
coming up. All right. Wednesdays, I do a show called Sports with Friends. And the plan, although this has not been confirmed, the plan is to talk to Kenny Albert.
Oh, wow.
An old buddy who's stuck in quarantine, so why the hell not? A guy who is so busy, I could never get him ever on this show. We've done 240 episodes. I wouldn't dream of having Kenny Albert on the show, but I think we're having Kenny on the show or this week or next week. But on the Hall of Justice, which comes out on Thursdays, we have filmmaker Kevin Smith on the show.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. Ask him what his thoughts on the Joker are.
He loves every movie. That's so hard. I listen to his podcast when I'm in the car, which I don't go in these days. But Kevin's a good guy, and we have 8,000 mutual friends. And when the quarantine thing happened, it turned out it wasn't one of my mutual friends. My wife, she works in licensing, and she was talking to a guy who said, I have to go. I have Kevin Smith on the other line. And my wife's like, oh, my God, Kevin Smith again? Because I have all these mutual friends with Kevin Smith. And I talked to the guy, and all I told him was, check out the Hall of Justice. And so he saw the Hall of Justice. He texted and said, I'm in. So he's going to do it.
That's awesome. Good for you.
It is awesome, man.
Pretty fun.
That's good stuff. Yeah, he did like the last Skywalker film. So his opinion takes a big hit with me on that one because that film fucking sucked.
Every movie. But that's the thing. He likes every movie. And when he looks at it, he has a different perspective because those are his peers and those are people he knows. So if you were going, look, if Todd Phillips went to high school with me and I'm at a reunion, I'm not eviscerating the Joker the same way I did tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's Kevin Smith every day.
Yeah.
So when you don't listen to him for analysis of breakdown, but I do have some unique questions for him. He knows about him. And so we're going to, I told his assistant, I said, Zack Snyder got 330,000 downloads. I want to beat that. That's my goal. Get Kevin Smith to say something outrageous that it makes the news. No, I'm just kidding.
If he has another heart attack on your podcast, that'll get more than the 330.
News, yeah. That would be news. Yeah.
Kevin Israel, where can we find you?
Hiding in my house, waiting for this all to end.
Yeah.
Praying to talk to some people other than my wife and my dog. You
don't have any kids and you're quarantined with your wife?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my fantasy.
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
It's pretty. We're enjoying it. Although after 4 weeks, it's kind of lost its luster.
Can I pitch a podcast to you guys? This is an idea. I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to put it together. I don't want anything. I want to create an email address, and random strangers could email 10 minutes tops of audio. And the answer to the one question is, what would you do if you were isolated one day, 24 hours, all by yourself? No roommate, no spouse, no kids, no mom, no dad, just yourself in one place. You would hear the dirtiest podcast in the world. It would be incredible. There'd be one guy going, I eat all the damn donuts. I'd go to, that'd be one guy. And then there'd be a woman going, I wouldn't put on clothes. Like, I'm telling you, it would be the best podcast. You can take this out of that podcast, but I think it would be the greatest podcast in the world, and I don't want to put it together.
Mine would start off with, I actually jerked off without the door locked today.
There you go. See? I'm telling you, and listening to it would be amazing because we're all people watchers, right? So you'd listen, and it would 10 minutes because we're not in cars anymore. We're just walking around the block. 10 minutes is all I got.
Brilliant idea. KevinGoatee.com. Why? I don't know. No dates, no new movies to review, no new NFL bets to put out, so why bother? GuttingTheSacredCow.com. You can go there and check out our merch. We're looking for merch ideas, shirts, socks, condoms, fucking face mask for COVID. We need ideas. God damn it. And if you want to throw us a donation, too, to help keep the lights on, why the hell not? Visit our YouTube page for that.
Yeah, follow our YouTube page.
Yeah, we're actually not doing too poorly for only a week out with YouTube, and barely promoting the YouTube page. But yeah, Gutting the Sacred Cow, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you know the drill. KevinGoatee.com, KevinIsrael.com. And Seth Everett, thanks again for coming on from the Hall of Justice podcast as well. Thank you so much for talking about the Joker. Guys, we'll take it easy. Take care. You're welcome, guys. Take care. See you later.